as a nihilist, because from Buddhist perspective, they are, saying that something doesn't exist, although it exists in reality.
다티니 마진에 이바체라도 셰바스스 다 낭바기 템비치체만 tambu toma nyame tambu chanju chudu tuke pardo kaba zame chosa thardo jede nyongom bardo ba sangje nge tambu ngarang tu najin chene nyomu chingwa kunde indege oda pembadi indio gala susi gila sangje ri dio inza chanju gi niji lai niji ngo kompedo tane chanju gi semjen thamje gi tundala samtang tukne semje semde gyachambu kebe tole sonam labchambu sabe ani chik phage damin tenjung te khonani serab ge troche ani tendel gi te khonani to ye wange ani chik pardo kapata me sundu chosane thar doji dengi bola ngombar to sangi de oda dembati gi ta chokote tam doji ni
And we just started, Buddhist school of thoughts or Buddhist, tenets, starting from the lowest school of thoughts or the first school, a great exposition school, and it is also translated as a particularist. And for that, we kind of started with the general, tenets or general kind of introduction of the Buddhist philosophy, and here the text starts with the brief life story of Buddha Shakyamuni. Basically, kind of three stages. First started with the generation of altruistic mind, and then in the middle he accumulated, positive merits for three countless eons, and finally attained enlightenment in Bodh Gaya in India. And when we look at this, aspect of Buddha's achieving enlightenment, we are seeing that basically Buddha is, initially he's just like us, ordinary human being who is kind of, tied up in ignorance, delusion, defilements, negative emotions, and then he generated or practices positive mentalities like compassion, loving kindness, and then he developed the level of this positive mentality and transformed that into what we call bodhicitta or altruistic mind. And then, as said before, in the middle, he kind of accumulated positive merits, and through that, he was able to understand the concept of dependent origination, and then, eventually, as we said before, Bodh Gaya in India, he attained or achieved enlightenment.
Moni nyumu chiwa kundenji kale kyap duri kyap any semgi phagi nyumonde semrab du majwa chekinde ngwezin ti gulami kya thapsiche pang ani semla jide tenge tendu dewa tenge ani phagi nyamsulane sangi kopang tuba ina te ngacho chipachi khan wata sosu tundi lorale bare oda tundi digala soso ina nangba sangye beta semjen samje musi injela sangye ge niba yore oda tundi indigala chi ngone chi tigita semjen thamje sangye gyo ba chumden degi womba na jinji chebe ina ani chumden de nyamne na na jinji ngana so chebe ina ngazo tena jin chaye yo ba de geja kya thambata she mogwa de garang de
And when we look at the Buddha's own kind of journey of his practices, as said before, at the beginning he is just like us, with the negative emotions, delusions, defilements, and then he, made a great effort, with the understanding that, or with the realization that, there are certain negative emotions. If you possess those, you are going to experience suffering. And he realizes, able to understand that there are some negative emotions that we need to be eliminating, and then there are ways and means and techniques that we can practice so that we can eliminate. And at the same time, he realized that there are, mentalities that, or mental state that can give us, peace and happiness. And then there are also, ways and methods and techniques that we can, practice, and we can achieve that mental state. So, so when we look back, into Buddha's life story, what we see is basically kind of, he made a great effort, and otherwise, he is same like us, with the, negative emotions, and then. Eventually he managed to eliminate completely. So here, what we know, looking at this Buddhist life story, is that in Buddhism, of course, human being, even smallest insects, has a potential to achieve enlightenment, and we all have that Buddha nature to achieve complete enlightenment. And so that is kind of 100% guaranteed, sure that we can know from Buddha's life story. And the only difference, Geshe said that we didn't make that level of effort that is needed to achieve complete enlightenment.
Dungal siyade gyude kelnitini kibare, dewa singide gyude kelnitini kibare. Tindu indigala gyu dungal ngwezini dungal gyu pangya dewa ngwezini dewi gyu tubiyade ke chembu shade gare.
So here what is important is understanding that both suffering and happiness are the result of its own cause and contributing factors. Suffering has cause and its contributing factors, and when these are together, we experience suffering. And likewise for the happiness, happiness has its cause and its contributing factor, and when these two, encounter, we experience happiness. So the important thing here is understanding or realizing that both of these two, depends on its cause in order to experience, happiness and suffering both.
Oda tumba sangini yugo kolo tangpo nipa sumbazane kolo sum chigi kolo rimba sum korne eni di ji sundane womba tazu mandatene duptashimbo ji jijo.
So after achieving enlightenment, as most of you know that Buddha turned wheel of Dharma. He did three cycle or wheel of teachings of Dharma, and based on the different interpretation of these three turning of the Dharma, we have 4 different tenets or 4 different school of thoughts in Buddhism.
Tuta jigi phagi jebe chani kebar yo mare tawe chani ta kebar chambu cha sore charagi kebar cha bare.
And the differences, between these 4 school of thoughts is, difference is based on the intensity or the level of the concept or philosophy, not of, on method or practices. The practice-wise, all 4 basically does the same practice, but when you look into the philosophy or concept or ideas, then we see, kind of different interpretation.
Oda tendi indigalata dukta dela tuta ji nebares. And tapera tabasum the nebares. Oda duschene, chik tange de duschen gores. Sange pale jibada ngabatu gumba means that dojing India ge long time pesan tutsar saos.
And in last class, we also kind of went through this. There is no fifth, school of thoughts in Buddhism, and also there is no fourth, vehicles in Buddhism. So it's on page 174, and this quote is from Commentary on the Condensation of the Vajra Tantra. In that text it says that it is not the subduous thought that the fourth vehicle or a fifth school of tenets exist for Buddhists. So there's only 4 school of thoughts and only 3 vehicles.
Ta tupha sidugala rangala tachigi tha pongsul manda yores. Dinjugala tutha rangalula chitamawi lula ina chitamawa khorang uma bachene. Enin jode basen zambata tu suyang. Umabala Tangyuwa de ngoni me permawa lagu mata umabala gamar umabala chitamawi lula chitamawa khorang uma pare yores. Eo de khazan rosa so rang ke lula ene uma panto to sia de ote tu suke che yore. Chitama dode belula dode khorang uma pare. I u de taji kitta ponsul mara ye da di kilen kelenge ni sa umabala yores. Pena chitamawa ge dibuki we yunga pa tabe thapongla 유인주도 좀 기분주와 체페 타봉어 그래서 로차서 보다 제가 마이블로라 다 다다 봉주 제가 봉주 가르는 어디 다다 랍셔버 공부하랬어.
And we also discussed about tenets, and how 4 school of thoughts interpret that they themselves are, middle way school. Great Exposition School, they say that they are middle way school, and likewise, Sutra School says that they are middle way school, and Mind Only School, and of course, Higher School of Thoughts. They all, according to their own, interpretation, they consider themselves as a middle way school, which, when we look at the how they interpret, we see the differences of, So when we say middle way, philosophy, what they are referring to is, they avoid 2 extremes of permanence and extremes of annihilation. So all schools kind of consider themselves as a middle way, not falling into either of these 2 extremes. And for example, the Great Exposition School, it's on page 175. Second paragraph, the proponents of the Great Exposition School maintain that they avoid the extreme of permanence because when an effect is produced, its causes cease. They say that they also avoid the extreme of annihilation because an effect arises after the termination of the cause. So, when we look here, we see how, this lower school, Great Exposition School, consider themselves as a middle way school based on cause and effect relationship.
Oda dus chene ta kisan rojo de tomta ji duna ta tendish res nega che de kya she te jures.
So what Geshe-la mentioned before in this session are some kind of important points of what we covered in last Sunday sort of review.
Dus cheve na mo bana kya so samlo yane yam ta tomta de samudang dus chebe na pendoyong gure samgores.
So Geshe-la thinks that this way it should be helpful when you study, kind of after finishing the chapter, just kind of review and look at the more kind of important points that we covered in the chapter.
Ta di yang jik yung jenda na jinji ne pe lela yo mare di to samlo ma tang gu ware samlo tang yang do lo samlo tang ta pe na chira ma we lula ta gi ji ta phung dul kar re si gala dibu ke we si yung ga pa dibu ke ma tha tu ko yu ni pa de dibu ngol ro thara wa yu ngol de yo mare ina yang nga zo yu nga chi jinji ngong gi eni be 하기 미다바 참모디 로타데야 하마고 단진슈 충분히 대왕을 융어치 찌든지네 근데 왕기 애니베 즉 하기 깨지기 뉴바 간데스 푸구여메 뉴바 간데스 하기 누구여메데 세부 말한저 사모 코르게요 말에 코랄라 당기예요 말 마땅나 코르고 말와 근데 인디가라 즉 기부 깨외치 융가바 따베타보 유인주도수 유주도 때마다도 디부주로마도 유가 차네 아니 유행보 전에는 디부주가 되대 말이 어떻게서 세부하고 했어
And this text is not easy as other Buddhist text. For this text you need to be thinking more when you read and kind of go over again and again and try to understand the meaning behind the words. And for example, the one important point that text mentioned, as we just said before, how this particular school, Great Exposition School, interpret their version of middle way, and they basically they says that right after the production of the result or fruit, the cause ceases. The cause stops right after when it produces result. So here and they are saying that it is because the cause or the seed has already kind of transformed into the result or sprout or fruit. So there's no more seed there when you see the fruit. And for this particular kind of point, we need to be thinking more, because here what they are talking about is they are talking about the subtle impermanence, momentary impermanence, the momentary changes, and which we usually kind of concentrate. We usually don't focus or look at. First of all, we don't think much. And if we don't think and try to understand, of course, it's not easy to understand. And second point is kind of because of our strong level of grasping to permanent grasping, and we have that strong level of grasping. So therefore, for us, it's kind of not easy to understand kind of momentary changes or momentary impermanence on the phenomena. And likewise, they say that they also avoid the extreme of annihilation, because an effect arises after the termination of cause. An effect or the result or the fruit or the sprout comes right after the termination of its seed or cause, or so and they're saying that this seed comes right after the cause, not seed and then after maybe several days or hours or quite long time, then you see the result. They are not saying that whenever the seed stopped being a seed, the next step is changing into or producing a result.
Oda deje dak diri dode panam dijenam yim ma chebran juba chebeta phongin cheta dijenam yim ma cheba tape yim ni ba tape chidji parama chedun ruwa oda ti chik yim ma chebran juba chebeta phongin kechigin jiba tape thapong las tape ma sidigala tagi chera maale di tha do chera ma ko korange dibu kiwe si yunga gre yunju to sen dibu jungre dilar ma do kechi gin jiba de lagmi do tanandina kechi gin jiba ta ngaran do ngone ngaji jing ya de la ngone nugu do kechi gin jiba de yon la samlo ta chi de yan yan do sam ta wa ina o khesang ne do tagi shogen do 단단도 세야지기 거기 너치지 둔진댕이 윤가지 찐진데 라페 누구도 호 두다 고마 인자 파게 저지데 잡루 차르도 와 대체버도 와서
뒤치를 decision.
뒤제스데 뒤신체바 그경기 뒤신체바 즉 유메바 깨메바 따바랑 중세대 말에 유당 깬라 되니 tum되게 왔다 두스레스.
And we'll go to the second, school of thoughts and how they interpret and how they consider themselves as a middle way school. And it's on page 175, sort of last paragraph, not that intended para. The proponent of sutra say that they avoid the extreme of annihilation through asserting that the continuum of a compounded phenomena exists continuously. So here, I kind of ask Geshe-la to explain briefly what compounded phenomena means. Compounded phenomena, or the other word is composite phenomena, refers to things or object or phenomena that is the result of cause and effect. Whatever things or phenomena, object out there, when it is, when its existence is, result from cause and, contributing factor, then we consider that as a composite phenomena. So composite phenomena has to have, cause and factors and conditions that, made that thing. You can also read that, the example given here. And so this is how they considered, avoiding of the, extreme of annihilation. And the second part on next page 176, the proponents of sutra maintain that they are also free from the extreme of permanence because of the assertion that compounded phenomena disintegrate from moment to moment. So here, we see this second level of school, they very kind of openly or precisely, mention about the momentary changes, which is not that clear in the, the first school. So here, when they talk about moment to moment, disintegration, they are talking about, very subtle impermanence. And, when we know this subtle impermanence, what will this kind of do, with our common understanding is that this will hurt or this will go against our common, way of looking at things. That, because when we look at the thing, whatever phenomena, we have grasping to the continuity of the, things' existence. For example, when we look at the things, we have understanding that, that thing I saw from yesterday and it's still there. And, you have that kind of, your own interpretation of that, that object is same as the yesterday that you saw. Or maybe, that's the thing that I saw from morning, and that, the continuity of the existence of a same object out there, we have that kind of, interpretation or common understanding. And here, when this school says that, momentary changes, the thing that you see today is not exactly the same as the, object that you saw yesterday, because, the changes is happening on that thing moment to moment, so it's not, exactly the same object that you are seeing. So, as we go further down into the school, or maybe, higher up into the levels of school of thoughts, as we said before, the second school is much more kind of, has a deeper, interpretation, or more subtle, or kind of a more higher level of philosophy, or more deep or more profound. So here, when they talk about subtle impermanence, it is kind of getting more deeper as compared to the first school, which is simply kind of focused on cause and effect. When there's, cause, when there's a, result, there is no cause. So, so when we compare how they interpret their own middle way, version, we can see kind of, second school. This sutra school is more kind of deeper, interpretation.
Ta indi indi gala 말아줘. 같이 진진 왕기 답에 여기 공도전하지. 이 개상의 통수, 개상의 윤같이 지든진 거, 대왕의 통로만. 개상 통수 해야 돼, 도 쉬운 걸마다 율코랑 원이 주인이 원이 가서 깨점님 집에 안전도 두대 인다. 깨점님 지 같이 그게 진도야 돼. 유현신에서는 좋아 말해. 유세베서는 좋아 말해. 이게 유코랑 왕기 이 집은 걸로 두대. तीन बार सर्व कांडे हाकू तो जना ngaran so tanda penang ngazo mi na lo geju de ge che kini lo geju pardu gyuwa chimbo ju do tin gyuwa doya de ko lo chi gi gyuwa doya de dawe no gyuwa do ro ngose to pe thombi gyuwa de lo ji man thungo mar de ngosel nebe go ne gyuwa de 다wen gyurachi dugurwa 다와데 자나 dugurwa dunda나지 dun다데 자나 자데 추저데 karmenado karmada karchina gyurachi mandona tindi gyuwan dogenji mena second ji gyuwan dogenji mena lochi gyurate ngosetumbi gyurate yongse da kona mido tindi gon nangbe jugonala midaba rakpa midaba thamose midaba raba sindi yuzepe tindi gengi 통도고 미기 통규가 나의 특유가 유제 현다 채용도 가라 용도 다이 용해야 돼 미다바 탐모 랑투스니 끼위 규코랑 원이 좀 되긴다 미다바 탐모 깨지기 뺐다 데라 삼노다 이양이양도 삼다는 과에메 괜찮고 뺐디 중세 건조를 되어 딸을 생기 또 과에 차고 삼노다는마다 하고 말 어떻게 내가 전부 찾아야 돼. 공부 제거를 양양도 삼노당이나 만다시온 그래.
So considering that the thing that you saw today, that you see today, and the same thing that you saw yesterday, we consider that as the same object, and actually, when we look kind of more closer or more deeper, what we are saying is that the object that you are seeing right now and the object that you saw yesterday has the same continuity, right? And therefore, we are saying that, oh, this is the same object because, the yesterday object that I saw, it's a kind of continuity of that very same object. And so here we are looking at the continuity of that object or continuum. And but in the reality is that, as we said before, composite phenomena, whenever they came into existence, at that very moment, they also have the nature of, impermanence. So from that right moment, it keeps changing. There's a momentary changes, and that momentary changes on, any object or phenomena is not because of the external factors or condition. It happens because of the very being, that composite phenomena. And the example Gajala said, when we look at our own life, as a human being, we changes a lot, from birth until when we get to age like 80. We see a lot of changes, the physical appearance, and when we look at this, great changes, which is, which might be kind of obvious when you see somebody after a year or after, several years, you'll say that, oh, you change a lot, but how did that happen when you looked closely? And that changes, great changes that you see happen in a year actually happened in a month. And that month, the changes is actually happen during the, weekdays. And that weekdays, the changes that, is actually happen in a day. And the day, you go down into hours, and hours into minutes, and the minutes into second. So the changes, the momentary changes, or the changes that is happening kind of in a second, if there is no changes that is happening on our body at that level, kind of second, very momentary, then of course there won't be changes that we will be seeing, that happen in the big, 1 year. So the big changes can never happen without changing at the level of, momentary. So therefore, the changes in a year has to be, changes that happen within kind of, very short amount of time. And so that's the reason why, in Buddhism, when we learn about impermanence, we have a two level, gross level of impermanence and the subtle impermanence. And the gross level of impermanence are, the changes, disintegrations that we see through our eyes, that we hear, kind of first-hand, knowledge, direct understanding. But the second level of, the impermanence, subtle impermanence, are the momentary changes that, we just talked before. And that, subtle changes of, things or phenomena came to existence at the same time that phenomena came to existence, And so, this subtle impermanence, since we cannot see directly, since therefore it has to rely upon, to understand that level of impermanence, we need to be using, as we mentioned this before, inferential knowledge, indirect knowledge. So we need to be using kind of reason, evidence, proof, in order to kind of say that this kind of subtle impermanence does happen. So therefore, this subtle impermanence is considered as the when we categorize the object of knowledge into three. This comes under slightly hidden object. The first one is manifested, second is slightly hidden, and then third one is extremely hidden. Three levels of object that we try to understand. And so this comes under the slightly hidden. And for the slightly hidden, we cannot see directly through our eyes or heard from ear, but we have rely upon inferential. And in order to understand these kind of subtle impermanence, Geshe-la said, we need to be kind of thinking more, look kind of more deeper, and it's not kind of easy to understand, like just gross level of impermanence.
Sateli digala, juwa chembu yoya de, juwa tamu ngoso de juwa mena juwa chem, thol digala juwa chembu de yoya kona yomarwa. Ko tamu jiwa de seva haguda, karjana loya. Dugin juwa ji dugu du mado, tiring ni ne sangi nam landi udala, petke go tagar ki gongla ni nama kende ke teli juwa top tekan doya kini mido, ti mea karde, ti misal suji, juwa tamu dogenji yobi kinjirwa, juwa tamu di dugu ya na, ini loya garondo di gala, ini juwa chimbo di sidi ora, ti sebo duga.
So as said before, the big change that we see, of our body is because of the subtle changes that's happening at the momentary level, and because it is very obvious that when we go to bed, sleep tonight, and tomorrow wake up getting our hair grayed and wrinkled, and that doesn't happen, So. And it takes a time, and it goes through this very kind of process of subtle, momentary changes, and so therefore, the big changes happen because of these subtle changes.
What are those changes? That sinzam banam kunda dembar matuba tabe thapungla, jawa dembar tuba chebe thapung. What that? Kunta dang jawang siduga la karse gore senzam belula ta chik kinji je megen takpa ti chik kunta chikre ani phagi ngaranzo luiwangi chik tobe rota jo tena remember to Batabu, that in Batabu. T. Megukundare. Your Martin around to Mejin to Tela Trotane, Tobago Trotace, in Zindigiore. What is it? Kuntare. Sensabelula. Jaman Sidi, take you come to the second. You can teaching changing any mobile Tamse, Jaman Chave. But that two stine. Sensabelula Chidane, Jawan, Kunta, Young Troops the day. Sum Chigri. Young Troops say to Gala, She Kanda Gang, Jawan Tangi, Nelu, Moye Nisuli, Nindigi, or tape Nilutela, Young Troops cigarette, paying low Shepat Sema Indenge, you'll do good to me. Having Yamja easily, you'll do good to me. What a tea, Young Troops. Jite Tangi.
Now we'll go to the third school, mind-only school. The mind-only school also, just like other schools, they also says that they are, middle way school, and they have their own interpretation of avoiding from two extremes. And this is on page 176, second paragraph. The proponents of mind-only say that they avoid the extreme of impermanence by asserting that imputational natures do not truly exist. They say that they also avoid the extreme of annihilation through asserting the true existence of dependent natures. So here, the mind-only school, the one important thing to understand is, so-called three, they're called three natures of object, which will actually come detail in the mind-only school section. And here they are saying, so these three are, the first one is imputational nature, imputated phenomena. When they say imputated phenomena, what they are referring to is imputated phenomena are things that doesn't have, that doesn't have changes, that doesn't, produce, doesn't have a cause. Basically, like a permanent phenomena comes under this imputated phenomena. And they also, when they, under the imputated phenomena, they also, it also includes things that we, we kind of designated through our conceptual mind, kind of exaggerated conceptual mind. And the example would be truth grasping to truth. So, Denzin Sung. Denzin Sung.
Any dancing down Kangay. Mel, Tota, Tobi Tota, Zinding.
Truth grasping, permanent grasping, these are all, kind of wrong, conception, although this doesn't exist, but, we kind of imputed it, we designated, through our mind. So this is, the imputational nature or imputated phenomena. The second one is, dependent natures. The dependent natures here refers to sort of, the composite phenomena that we mentioned before. The things or objects that, that are the result of cause and effects. And then third is thoroughly established phenomena. It is not here, but it will come later. Thoroughly established phenomena, according to mind-only schools, it refers to the very realistic, aspect of the phenomena. And and the reality of the phenomena, and this this here they refers to this is the emptiness of the phenomena, or the reality of the phenomena, or the nature of the phenomena, and this can be perceived or understood only by the valid cognitive mind, or you can say this can be understood only by the wisdom of meditative equipoise of superior being. So another way of saying is that this cannot be easily perceived by ordinary mind. you know.
이 도저 첨부지 사무당 제바제 제타 곰게 노이타니 파게 답 니루 청인지라 라야르마도 나란도 세미양아 잉이 뉴무치왕 군네 딘디지라 베 주기 니루 뭐마데시야 백하버레스.
And the reality or the ultimate nature of the phenomena can be found only through, a long kind of process of studying and learning. And this includes, first thinking, reflecting a lot, then analyzing, and then, meditation. And then, after going through all this process of learning, then one will be able to find the true nature of the phenomena or the real nature of the phenomena. And for us, it's not easy because our mind is so kind of unfocused. It's not. And our mind is kind of it's not strongly concentrated. It's kind of scattered. It's kind of wandering around, and it's not kind of totally focused as it should be in order to understand the true nature of the phenomena.
다 저런 또 아주 남박이 당고 강사가 담에서 자고 강사 담에 친이 하고요 계속 하고는 요배.
Geshe said, in Buddhism, we accept the selflessness of person. Selflessness of person. So, does anybody has Geshe is saying? Does anybody know what does this mean, selflessness of person? Or do you know the meaning or definition or selflessness of person?
There is no permanent unitary basis on which to attach the label called person.
Tauji rawanjeng di lagu setaje. Tauji rawanjeng gi da lani khasor ming tosa menga laure. Ming shasa menga laure. Shi menga shla tam hatu kun ro shla.
Shi menga ji na da kenza cha. Ani nyamne je ko toba che khara ma cha ko.
I was saying, did you say that without a base or foundation?
No, the base or foundation that you call the thing person isn't solid and stable and eternal.
Da joshora da de ani ko da de mare sa khalore. Ta bada tembuda da chikyoro.
Ta number 맞아 당부니 라디가라 가자다면 칭이라 가자가 다도 체매 마미 봤을 거랬어 강라 갭된 체마 연행인데 왜 내주 텐데게 갭된 체마 맹인데 로 투지암 뽑아진다고 자샤거들라 애니베 이사면되게 인디샤고 갭된 제가 체미 미바 체미 율도 봐 가자가 다도 체미 유도 그러지나 가자다 메시고 가자다도 체미 맘이 봐 가자다도 체미 맘이 봐 나도 체미 맘이 봐나 생인데 거기 공부를 던지면 다지 자기도 와 어떻게 체미 맘이 봐 공부를 던지면 다요 말이야 즉 공부 줄도자 다도 줄도자 근데 다도 공부를 왕 들으면 또 못되니 누구 와 말이야 어떻게 체미 맘이 봐래 in Kazadame Tingde.
First of all, Geshe said in Buddhism we, as said before, we accept this, selflessness of person, and the when we say selflessness of person, selflessness of person, how we kind of, say that, this, selflessness of person is. Correct or valid, and so selflessness of person. Dadu seme mami boro. the another way of saying is that we cannot perceive independent self through valid cognitive mind. So if there is a self, independently existing, it has to be supported by a valid cognitive mind, and whatever things or phenomena, if it is not supported by valid cognitive mind, sort of automatically we consider that as a illusion or misconception, simply because whatever the consciousness of the mind that confirm the status of that object is not done by valid cognitive mind. Valid cognitive mind. Cognitive mind. Yeah.
If you even think about a selfless person, then you've lost the concept of the selfless person, which is a fundamental concept.
Mm-hmm.
The selflessness, there is none.
Because here, because there is no aggregate or self or body separated from self, and the self and the body is not viewed as self kind of controlling a body, and body being kind of servant, or so they are no two separate self and the aggregate. And so the reason why we come to the conclusion or the statement that selflessness, lack of self, is because self being independent existing is not perceived by valid cognitive mind. Because if it is reality, then it should be perceived by valid cognitive mind. But valid cognitive mind doesn't perceive that mode of existence.
Dadu tseme mina, dadu yotana shego. Yona, da kijisumde dadu tubu. Kijisumde dadu tubu ina, chame pichi bu, je birubu, ninji bi tapa se te sum kanu tubu. Dadi chagya ji nang rame te tere, da te tere. Dadi dir chame pichi bu mare ko te, teni je girubu mare. Just to buy marwa, any niji bitaba mare, cookie chicky to pour. In Dugala, chick. He tatu semi mean do. Semi you to good may in such semi mammy part. Ta Kansa Ramet like Yavadu Sija in Dugala, Nambe Pagi, singing me that, Jane, Tapa the Mopunis, Kansa Ramet Telayena, Tapa the Mopunija. Tapa Sidugala, Jiu Mege, Yunding, Jim Sijala, Yunding Jilla, Jia Menge, Pena, Dumaji Nam Kasking, Taji, Dizo, Jia Megen, Tapare. Turning around to Kambenang Nam Kasking Dizo, Ringa with Tapazagora, Tapa de Laya, Ringa with Tapata, Ringa Mind with Tapa Ninja. And in Duje de la, Mumpo de la, Sum. Zu Shabal Demin Duchesson. Duchesside, Wiking in Dushi Chevins and Duchessi. Rang Willy Kevan Duchi singing. But that is so singing to Toto City, any Lordism, Samatangina Yabores.
Mobile Sokshiba de Mintusum.
Sunday.
Duje Harnas.
Duce. That Mobo Duce, Midaba Samatunjis. Tondachi. Ina in Chilegon. Ning Tata Mandari.
Dado Yuna any Chame Woda.
What a take Tisum to Mures. Tatu Yuna?
Dado Yuna Dara want to Yuna Lagora.
Or Dara want to.
So, when we look kind of from other way, from other way around, and if you ask a question, yes, self exists independently or by itself, then how it should be existing. So here comes kind of three possibilities. If it exists, it should be exist, by itself or single or unitary. We mentioned this before. Three, characteristics of self: the self which is single and unitary. But the self does not exist by itself or by itself or single. And the second is if self exists, it should be exist, without any changes, sort of, permanently there. But that is not the case. Self is impermanent. And then third is if self exists, it should be exist with, or of kind of substantial entity with the nature of that. But that is also not the case. And the selflessness of person is selflessness of person is further categorized into permanent and second is thing or object. So when we say first the permanent refers to like the permanence also kind of categorized into temporary and kind of long-term sort of temporary, long-term permanent. The temporary permanent would be like a space in this room. Space in this room is considered as a space or sky. In the room is considered as a permanent and generally. But sometimes when you fill up the space, where does that go? But generally the space is considered as a kind of permanent. And then the second, the object or phenomena or composite phenomena, impermanent, composite phenomena or compounded phenomena, and the object. They, different terms, but when you kind of interpret, these all have kind of same meaning. So this, the object or impermanent or compounded phenomena is further kind of categorized into, form, consciousness, and non-composite phenomena. So they are kind of, Geshe said, these terminologies or this term, if you know, should be kind of helpful. There's amshana marat chuziji yosas.
다 그도 니팅이 같이 라보스. 인켜서 되게 나 야보레스. 던지 니방 오베팅이 레스.
디나도 여기를 배진이나.
여기 말해.
관람디 규르제고 민다 왈 세세냠도.
도.
And Geshe said that he wants to give some definition of some term, and I said I'm not sure, but it might be in the your book, because this book has more than simply the translation of Tibetan text. It has a lot of kind of note and some example that is in the intended para. The break shaya mbikhe lingi thanda songembe.
break tante ni jugulan digmida tan break tan tanren도
re chu sikchin saso.
아니 교수 양 단전에 야보는 대주고 생기듯 락잖아요.
So he said he's going to say some definition of the some important term after the break. We will take a 15-minute break, and there's tea in the kitchen.